Welcome, my friends, to the Redallover Away-in Show with me, Andy Simcox. In this show, I'll be talking to friends old and new about their team who are due to face the mighty Reds shortly. We'll cover topics such as their team's formation, style of play, players to watch out for, strengths, weaknesses, their aspirations and hopes for this game and for the future. But before all that, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, a long time ago in the annals of history, a 4-year-old boy was walking down Oakwell Lane, holding tightly onto his dad's hand. He was then lifted over the turnstile and they made their way around the ground to be able to watch the team. His dad put him on his shoulder on the cob so he could watch his heroes such as Barry Murphy, our longest serving player. Fast forward 60 odd years and that hero is still around as an ambassador of the club, and the cob is now an all-seater stand named after the legend, the Barry Murphy stand. That 4-year-old boy is now finally back on the away end. Enjoy the show. Roll the titles. Here we are again with Charlie Hayne from the Talking Gaz podcast. Yet again, what people might remember is that unusually, we did an away end with Charlie last September when Barnsley were at home. And we rarely do them when Barnsley's at home because it's an away end when we're away. But Charlie's that good. It's just better than all the rest. Simply the best. We had to do it. We just had to do it. You know, there are other pretenders to his crown, but, you know, obviously Charlie's the best. So we had him then. So now we've got him again when we're actually away at Bristol Rovers. So we've played them 3 times. We'll have played them 3 times. We've played them twice already. We've beaten them in the league 2-1, and we'll talk about that. We've drawn 0-0 in the cup. I can't remember what happened after penalties, but, you know, we'll come to that, no doubt. Charlie answered some questions from little Alan Andy last time about why he supports Bristol Rovers, what his best thought the best player was, what game he'd like to relive. We've done all that, so I'm not going to repeat that other than recap it. So I'm going to bung that in from the previous show. He's going to be asked another couple of questions by the little scamps. We're going to talk about players that are going to cause us problems or not cause us problems, injuries, new players coming, all that. We're also going to do a little bit about players and managers that have played and managed in both teams, both Bristol Rovers and Barnsley. So get your thinking caps on, and if you can think of any managers or players that have played for both teams that doesn't get mentioned, get it in the comments. Get it in. So here we go. Charlie, tell me about the Talking Gas podcast.
Yeah, basically, it was sort of a rebrand. So before I had One Rovers Vlogs, I started that in 2019, and then because it was almost like a podcast anyway, along with, you know, other videos and match reactions, sort of stuff like you guys do. Rebranded that in September last year, and me and 2 other mates that basically do it live every Thursday. Sort of do reactions, episodes, stuff like that. So yeah.
How's the live ones going? Because it's something we've not done yet. We keep talking about maybe doing a live one, but we've never done a live one. I think I'm worried about what I might say.
Yeah. That's the only thing in it, because it's live. Like, you literally whatever you say. But we literally do it all the time. Literally all of our episodes are live. I think it's a little bit better just to get, so then obviously people can ask questions live and stuff like that. And obviously if people want to watch it back, then it's also good. So we always do live episodes just to get more of a interaction just when we're live and speaking on different subjects.
We've played you twice already so far. Both are taught well. Do you want to talk me through both games, and then I'll tell you the reality of it, what really happened, rather than what you say happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that first game, it should have been a lot more, really. First half, you battered us. Should have been probably 4 or 5 by halftime, but thanks to the mistake from your old keeper that's gone back now, I think his name is
Slanina, Gaga
yeah,
Slanina.
that's the one. Yeah, awful mistake from him. Got us back in it 1-1 at halftime. But in second half, I thought we done quite well, but we had a few big chances. I think Promise Omacheri, who unfortunately for us is out injured and is going to miss the rest of the season. He missed a few big chances, and then you got the other end. I think it was Barry Cotter that crossed it in, and Adam Phillips scored. And in the end, yeah, it was definitely a fair result. And then the FA Cup game, it was all Barnsley. Yeah, we got absolutely battered in all sense, touches, shots. I think we had one shot on target. I think you had 9 or 10. Griffiths was amazing for us. We spoke just before we went live, and yeah, even in the penalty shootout, he ended up saving it. But yeah, we were very, very lucky. And yeah, got absolutely battered, but managed to get lucky and win on penalties.
I can tell you about that second. I can tell you the stats for that second one as far as attempts are concerned. Barnsley had 30 attempts on goal in the
Yeah,
FA Cup, 9 on target.
yeah,
Josh Griffiths, apart from we were rubbish, if we were still playing, we wouldn't have scored. If we
yeah,
continued playing, we wouldn't have scored. Scuffing it, missing the ball, putting it over the bar. Your goalkeeper, Josh, made some great saves. What a goalkeeper! I mean, I've seen other bits and bobs where he's made some amazing saves since recently as well.
yeah,
Looking at the highlights, so it weren't a one-off. Some goalkeepers can have a one-off. He's a quality goalkeeper, and I'm
yeah,
gutted that he's still playing for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I wanted to see him. I'm sorry that Promise isn't in playing because he's injured because he shows a lot of promise. I don't know what else to say. He's
yeah,
a strong player. He caused us problems at all. Well, he was. I know
yeah.
he missed the field, but he was the one that caused us problems. So, what can you say? What do you think about your season so far? I know you lost out. I'll just say this. I know you lost out in the FA Cup, and I'm sorry about that. A mate of mine supports Ipswich, but I am sorry. I am sorry that you lost out. He'll be thrilled to flipping bits like. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I
That
like
game
to.
we just got dominated, really. Yeah, but yeah, the season so far it's been awful. Been awful. 20th in the league. We are 5 points clear of Crawley, but they do have a game in hand, so we are in a relegation battle for now. I'm hoping we can stay clear. Hopefully, get a few results. But yeah, it's been awful. 7 wins out of 24 in the league. We scored less goals than we've played games, so that also is really bad. I think you've scored 17 more goals than us, and we've conceded 5 more than you. So both pretty awful on the goals conceded, but where we've struggled is scoring goals, creating chances, and 13 defeats in the league, and yeah, it's just been awful. I mentioned to you before our record under Taylor. Of course, he was sacked. He was sacked in charge for I think a year and 14 or 15 days. And yeah, his record was awful. We were not creating anything under him. Our last few results before we got sacked, I think 2 games in a row, we didn't have a shot on target. 2 other games, we only had one, and we were just not creating nothing. We didn't have a style of play. I was pretty excited when he was at Exeter. I thought when we played them in League Two and the first season back in League One, I thought they were the best footballing side. But then obviously went to Rotherham. We spoke before, a mate at Rotherham, and know obviously quite a few Rotherham fans, and they said he was awful. And yeah, it just didn't work out. I think, well, in all competitions for us in 56 games, Taylor only won 19 games and we conceded 92 goals, and also in 21 of those games we didn't score a goal either. So
Yeah.
that just sums his time up, really. But yeah, it's been an awful season. There's a lot of words you could describe, but yeah, really, really poor.
What surprised me, if I'm honest, Charlie, what surprised me is that I think you've got some decent players, But to
Yeah,
only score 22 as in the league, 22 goals out of
yeah,
24 games, but concede 38 goals
yeah,
in those 24 games, tells you where the problems are, up front and at the back, but
yeah,
both, but particularly up front. And you've got some good attacking players there. I know promises are, but you've got my brother's favourite player, Chris Martin, leading the
yeah,
line now. Luke Thomas, who most people in Barnsley are really, really pleased that his career's back on track because he had some issues in the past. But then he came back good for us, but ultimately wanted to leave, and so we let him go with great pleasure for his own benefit rather than ours, and we
mm,
have properly replaced the sort of player that Luke is, and I
yeah,
think a couple of times he's made us rue the day that we let him go because he
yeah,
performs usually pretty well against us. So I'm hoping he has an off day. So Tiriu, he scored against us, didn't he, in the
yeah,
Slanina and defensive mess up.
yeah,
But it's the only goal he scored, and I thought he'd score a number of goals this season, Rule, because I've always considered him a decent player. So you tell me, and of course, Scott Sinclair. I know he's old. Well,
yeah,
he's not
yeah.
as
It's
old
good.
as me. It's hard, isn't it, when somebody's in his early 30s for me to say he's old. It is taking Mickey a bit. But he's got it. Whether he can last 90 minutes is different, but he's a skillful player. So I don't understand why you're not scoring goals.
Yeah, it's been a real problem. I mean, our top goal scorer is Promise.
Hmm.
He was actually he started quite well, but then he had a couple of I think he had a hand injury. I think he broke his hand or fractured, done something to his hand.
Yeah.
Then he done something to his ankle. Then he come back, scored against Wrexham in one of the few good results that we've had over the sort of past 12, 13 games. And then he scored again at Exeter, and it was looking really good. And then unfortunately, I think he's done his hamstring. I think so.
Oh,
He's really bad. So he's out for the season. But it says a lot. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 players on 2 goals, including Sinclair, including Martin, including Lindsay.
yeah.
But there's a lot of players on one, but then that's it. Literally, our top goal scorer in the league is 4 goals. Saturiu, like you mentioned, I was really. Oh, and Shackford, both for Orient. Obviously, Saturiu was a permanent player. Shackford was on loan there last year.
Yeah.
We signed both in the summer, but they've only got 1 goal each, and they haven't. They I know Shaq is still really young, like 20 years old, is still really young, but he's having a lot of inconsistencies. Thomas though is the weirdest one because he was he had a good season last year.
Mm.
It come into pre-season and it wouldn't really playing a lot. But then first game of the season, Taylor went to go with wing backs and was playing Thomas right wing back. Like Thomas is not a right, but it says a lot. He was playing every single game, I think, up until late September, not even coming off, right? And then all of a sudden, there's been a lot of rumours about this. There's even been rumours that he's going to leave. I think he'll stay now, Thomas, because of now Taylor's gone. But he was playing every game, and then for no apparent reason, he was frozen out. He wouldn't even coming on. Sometimes he wouldn't even make the squad. And then he come back against Wrexham, got the assist for the equaliser, scored the winner last week
Mm.
at Cambridge
Yeah.
for his first league goal. But it says a lot. Like even loads of games he's missed, he's still created the most chances. Like he's our most creative player. He's not even played half of the season, and he's got I think 3 assists and a goal. And really, really strange that situation with Luke Thomas, But yeah, I'm hoping he can do something against his old club. But yeah, like I said, we won at Cambridge last week. That was our first win under Inigo Calderon, our new head coach, who came in to replace Taylor after the Birmingham game. So Taylor got sacked after we lost 2-0 to Birmingham. Calderon was then in charge for the Stevenage away game, which was on the 28th or the 27th. We lost 3-0. That was awful. I'm not going to blame him. I think, yeah, some of the players needed to look at themselves. We were awful. I think you lost. I'm pretty sure you lost 3-0 to Stevenage after the game after you beat us in the league as well, away from home. So at least we got something in common.
Rubbish.
Yeah, yeah, and then we had the Orient game at home where we should have took something from, but we lost 3-2. Really poor goals to give away, but we played quite well. Then the win at Cambridge, but before that, one win in 11. Before the Cambridge game as well, we've conceded 3 goals in 3 games. So it's been weird though, because if you were to ask me, who are the players that most impressed you this season, from a Rovers point of view, it would be our goalie and our defenders. So that I think a problem with us is that we've sort of relied on Conte a bit too much. I think that's why we've brought in Romain Sawyers on a free transfer. We've really struggled, especially under Taylor, we were getting dominated every single game. The tactics were awful. There wasn't no plan. But now under Calderon, he's playing this sort of possession-based, want to get on the ball, want to create more chances. So, hopefully he can do well. But under Taylor, it was awful.
So it's improving under Calderon, do you think?
Yes, definitely improving. Yeah.
I looked at your stats. Only of the last 6 games, and you'd won one of the last 6, but at home.
Yeah.
You only won 1 out of the last 6, but you'd drawn 3, lost 2 and drawn 3. Was Calderon in charge of all those, or did he come after? I don't know when he came off the top of my head, to be honest.
Yeah, so Calderon. We drew with Lincoln. That was under Taylor. We drew with Crawley at home. That was under Taylor. And then after the Birmingham game, he got sacked. So Calderon's been in charge for the Stevenage away game, losing 3-0. Leighton Orient at home, where we lost 3-2. And then the league game at Cambridge, and of course the FA Cup defeat to Ipswich. But I'm not really
many
fussed.
games then, is it? It's not many.
Yeah, not many games. So this would be his 4th league game. Yeah.
I'm saddened that you brought Orient up, because I don't want to talk about them.
They
absolutely hammered us.
Yeah. I mean, saying that, we only played them before the New Year's Day game against them. We'd only played them, I think, a month previously, and got away from home, and got when they were in the relegation zone below us, and now they've gone on to win 8 games out of 9. I'm the same. I don't really want to. I'm glad that we're not playing Orient again this season. Yeah, because they've scored 6 goals against us, and it's not been very good.
In some respects, our defeat to Oakwell, and they thoroughly deserved to win. It's not we were talking, but I'm not going to say they won 4-0 at Oakwell, because just they played all right as well. They played. The last goal was in virtually the last kick of the match, but it was still a comprehensive defeat. In some respects, it was cathartic to us, because from what we understand, Daryl Clark got the players in the next day, or I think the next day, and they had a heart-to-heart. They got all stuff on the table, and we won 4 games on the trot since then. So and we played some decent sides. We've won away at Bolton, won away at Peterborough, won at home to Wrexham, which were a really hard game, and then against Crawley, where we romped into a 3-0 lead, and then could have been 6 or 7. But God's honest truth, because in my personal view, because we'd had it was such a hard game against Wrexham, because they really went for us in the last 20 minutes and didn't quite manage to get an equaliser, but we hung on, some good saves from Ben Killip. We were shattered. Come to Crawley, come Crawley to Oakwell, and 3-0 up. Last 20 minutes, we were running out of steam. Even with chances, we were running out of steam. And as daft as it sounds, we could have won that game 7-4, because Killip made at least, they hit the post, and Killip made 3 really top quality saves. So 3-0, you think, oh, it's against Crawley. They're down there, in relegation 3-0. Nice and easy. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, and
So,
that's the same. That's the same with us against them. Like first half we should have been 2-3-0 up. Second half we couldn't get a kick, and they should have beat us. But like you said, that's the weird thing. That's the most annoying thing now coming to play you. I'm glad it's at home, because away from home we're pretty awful. I think we've only won 3 games, and that was Burton, Cambridge, and one of them was Mansfield. Weirdly enough,
yeah.
where we had Taylor, we only had 1 shot on target. They battered us the whole game. But yeah, before, like you said, before the Orient game, or if you include that, you've got 5 wins in the last 6, and you've won 4 in a row. So it's not the best of time to play Barnsley. But yeah, it's gonna be really tough. It always is. Like our record against, it seems like we never win. Like I think the last time we beat you was when you had I can't remember his name, the German guy, when you'd already been promoted last game of the
Daniel
season at
Stendhal.
Ardsley. Yeah, that's it, Stendhal. That was the last time we beat you, when your centre back Lindsay got sent off, and we beat you 2-1 on the last game of the season.
We didn't care.
So, yeah. It's like you didn't care.
We've done that before. We've done that before. If we're already up, we don't bother.
Yeah.
So you've changed your manager. Like you said, you've got Romain Sawyers in. Oh, I know I think he's 33. Oh, I've always rated as a player. I know he had a month short-term loan at, I think, Wimbledon.
Wimbledon in League 2, yeah.
And now you've signed him. He's a quality player. I know he's knocking on a bit. I don't know how up to speed he'll be, but, he's played for a month at Wimbledon. He's got quality. Whether he can last the full game, I sincerely hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
But he's one of the, for me, whenever I've seen him, he's one of those players that gets on the ball. It's hard to get it off him, and he can weave this way, that way, and nobody can get him. He creates himself space and then can put a pass through. So I think you could well have signed a real quality player there. Season.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, because like you said, you only got to look at his career. He's had 2 or 3 promotions. He's played in the Prem. He's been. I remember I said it in the reaction in the video on our thing. I said it feels like yesterday when he was at Walsall, when it was Dean Smith, and he won. I think he was in League One team of the season, and now, like you said, he's obviously not going to be the same player. But we've seen little bits of him, because he started as well. His first game was Ipswich. He started. He was. You can see. We've got him in for one. A lot more quality to the squad, which we need, especially in midfield, and also the passing range, and obviously the style that Calderon wants to play. He wants his midfielders to be really, really good and confident on the ball. So I'm hoping, he can. The more games he'll play, the better he'll get.
Well, I hope he needs at least one more game to get himself up to speed. But after that one game, I hope he is up to speed, and it's. It's a good second half of the season for you, because the clock ticks, doesn't it? When you get to January, you think, oh, there's still, we're halfway there, but it comes around pretty quickly, really quickly. So, let me ask you this, a bit of a poser, because we've done lots of other stuff. So, a bit of a poser. Players that have played for both teams, both for Bristol Rovers and Barnsley. What I'm going to do, I'll list a few. If you can list a few, if you can think of some, list a few. And I'll ask people, if anybody says anybody, put it in the comments on this show. If you know of somebody that played for both clubs, put it in the comments, because I'm not sure my list is comprehensive, but who knows? I might have nailed every single one, but at my age, I forget things. So, who do you think might have played for both clubs? I'll start. Luke Thomas.
Yeah, Luke Thomas.
You think of anybody else?
I'll go Ollie McBurney.
Oh, Ollie McBurney. Oh, yeah. He were a hero at Barnsley, ducking and weaving, until we played him on left wing, and he couldn't do anything on left wing. Put him up front, and he could bob and weave, and scored lots of goals for us when he were actually playing where he was supposed to play. So that's 2. I've got them. I can get another one that is one of the players that I don't think I ever saw a free kick given against him for pulling shirts. And I don't think he ever did anything other than pull shirts. And that's Keith Curl. He played for played for Sheffield. He played for Sheffield United. He played for my mate's team at Wolves. And even at Barnsley, the number of times he pulled somebody's shirt, they fell over, and the referee shouting at him to get up. He got away with absolute murder. For me, everywhere he played. But it made me laugh when he were in a Barnsley shirt doing it, but not anywhere else. Jamie Curiton played for us for a very short period of time, but I know he played for you, I think, for only a short period of time as well.
Yeah, he's a legend. He was a little bit before my time, but obviously I've met him before. I've seen games of him, and he was outstanding when it was late '90s, early 2000s when it was him Jason Roberts up front. He was Curtin was unreal, and obviously he's still playing. I think even now he's like a player coach at like 50 or something. Like he's still, he's been outstanding throughout the EFL. But yeah, for us he was a brilliant player, Curtin.
At 50, hope for me yet then. Not a lot, maybe a bit, not a lot. But I'll tell you one that did surprise me when I was trying to look. That's for many reasons a hero at Oakwell, Scott Jones. Scott Jones didn't play that many times for us, and he weren't very tall, but he used to play centre back for us, but not that many games. He played. We drew in the FA Cup. We drew away to Manchester United 1-1 in the season in '98 when we were in the one time we were in the Premier League. We drew 1-0, and as God is my witness, at 1-1 in injury time, there was a clear penalty. Gary, it bless his cotton socks, he took out one of our players, Andy Liddell, by his thighs, straight in front of the referee, play on, so he didn't get it. Should have been an absolutely nailed on penalty. So we had a replay at Oakwell against Man United, and of course you think, have we had our chance, is that it? Has it gone? We beat them 3-2 with 2 goals from Scott Jones, who'd been our super sub, if you like. He'd not played much, scored 2 goals, so he became an absolute star at Oakwell. And he's still remembered so fondly for doing that. So, but he played for you as well, which were news to me. I didn't know. So, gone down in my estimation a bit, really, because I thought it should only play for Barnsley, but there you go. Ollie McBurney have said, what I didn't know, and I've not mentioned this before, our goalkeeper, Kevin Miller played for us as a goalkeeper, and I think he played for you. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's where I gather. Kevin Miller were a right goalkeeper for us. I don't think I've ever seen a player or a goalkeeper play with such big, not just his thighs, the back of his legs, unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, nobody could kick a ball well. Kevin Austin played for us both, which surprised me. I know he didn't play a lot for us because he were injured for ages against us, but a quality left back or left centre half, left wing back sort of thing and all that. 3 others, I have never heard of Jimmy Humes, so he must be well before my time, and that's takes some, I don't know if you're still around, Jimmy, but it takes some doing to be well before my time, I'll tell you that. 2 others, and one of the things I like about this show is being able to look at things like this. I've started to do this, look at players that have played for both clubs. There's 2 players that I had no idea that are absolute legends for us. For my mate on Redallover, Alan Smith, he loves Stuart Barraclough, who were outstanding for us on the right wing, as strong as a flipping ox, like lightning and getting crosses in. He played for you and all. I don't know if you remember him or if it's well before your time.
Nah. I think he was. I think he was before my time.
He's so flaming young, it scares me. And you got any older fans I can talk to instead of young whippersnappers like you, Charlie? It's not. There's right. I shouldn't have to do this.
Plenty. Yeah.
And last but not least, in my list, a star striker for Barnsley. If he didn't score, he nearly did. And my brother always said, "Oh, nearly. Andy Rambo. Sometimes he scored lots of goals, but never quite got on the end of it. Nearly, though. Nearly. Just missed it just misgained the ball in front of the goalkeeper by a millisecond. But yeah, Rambo. And I think we sold him to Southend, I think. So
Nothing.
he's very well thought of at Barnsley, including by me, even though I'm taking a mickey a bit after him. We love Rambo because when he got ball, he'd Rambo forward like a bull, and it took some doing to get him off it. But there you go. Two people have managed both clubs, which I didn't know. One I've heard of, and one I've not heard of, never heard of. And I can quite honestly say the second one was before my time, which takes some doing. But the first one that you'll remember well, so you can tell me about him, Daryl Clark.
Yeah, Daryl Clark. Yeah, he was quality. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a whole madness with him really because he came in as our assistant. Um, when we had John Ward in charge the season we got relegated to the Football League, it was one of those absolutely awful seasons. You know, getting relegated by Mansfield Town, and they were wearing our away kit, so that makes it even worse because apparently they forgot their kit. But yeah, Daryl Clark came in as manager maybe 4 or 5 games before, but that team was one of the worst I'd ever seen in what nearly 20 years of watching Rovers. But yeah, he ended up because he knew the conference because from his time at Salisbury. So yeah, he brought in some brilliant players, got us to the playoff final, won on penalties, which was amazing, and then he got promoted again, back-to-back promotions when we had McBurney, beat Dagenham on the final day. Very, very. I think it was 93rd minute, 94th minute. Lee Brown scores, and then even now, like we look at us in League One over the last few years, and since he's left, like when we've been in League One, we've struggled. Like Daryl Clark, I'm pretty sure he got us to 10th, 11th, and he's a legend. He always will be. Obviously, this weekend when he does come to the Mem, I'll be cheering his name afterwards, not before, but yeah, afterwards. Yeah, I've met him on a few times as well. Yeah, he's such a really down to earth. But as a manager, and I'm sure you've seen it from by the time time he's been managing you, he's honest. Yeah. He's really, really honest. Like, and a lot of people may or may not like it, but yeah, for Rovers, he was just an amazing bloke, amazing manager. I'll never forget those from getting relegated to being one of the worst days, being a Rovers fan, and then getting those back-to-back promotions. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
We found Daryl to be brutally honest. I mean, we had a whole season last year where things were sugar-coated, and that's putting it mildly. Sugar-coated. We got the worst, the worst performance ever, and you wouldn't have thought so if you'd just listened to the bit like Steve Evans, really. It weren't that bad, but with Daryl, he says it honestly. Now, I do think that there's sometimes, and I think some people have picked up on it, there's a thin line between being totally honest and chucking players under the bus. I've heard that, but not by me. I don't think that's a problem. I think if players want to not be chucked anywhere and want not to be called out, then play better. And players are human, and they might not play their best game, but there's nothing about not trying. If you try and it don't come off and you have a bad game, but you've done your level best, put yourself about on your level best, Barnsley fans are unlikely to get on your back.
Yeah.
Daryl.
Same with us. As long as you can see effort, then it's fine. But when it's not going for you and players are just, walking around or just from their body language and stuff like that. And also another thing with Daryl Clark, which I'm sure I've heard because I watch you guys a lot. The channel was obviously brilliant.
Oh, I'd save you time. I won't bother doing that. Don't bother doing that.
I've seen it.
You've got a life to live yet. Don't waste your time watching silly old watching us. Anyway,
but
Charlie.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot where a lot of your fans have seen what that because he'll change it. Like sometimes there's been a lot of times, especially in our League Two promotion season, he'd make. I think it was one game I remember Carlisle away. where we were 2-0 down, and within 25 minutes he'd made 3 subs. Like he'll sometimes a lot of the time, like he'll change it quickly. There's sometimes where you think, oh, it should be changes, but then sometimes he will make, if it's not going well, he will make early subs. Like your first game of the season, I think he done that as well. Made some early subs against Mansfield, so he's not afraid to change it.
Again, for us, it was a sublime to the ridiculous that last season we hardly made any changes, and when we did, it was like for like, but not very many. And we wanted more. If somebody's not performing, then it needs changing. Daryl came in and we're changing things right, left, and centre.
Yeah,
it were a bit of a culture shock, really, to us that. I thought it were all right because it needed to be done, but changing a formation, changing a personnel, even when we were doing well, that then resulted in it not going so well. So some people question it: is he changing it too much? He had to get used to what we got, the players we got, and how we wanted to play, how he wanted us to play. Formation changed a number of times, often in a game, but he's gradually seems to have got what he wants, and he's playing in a style that he wants. But we lost twice in the league against Huddersfield, and we were shocking. And you couldn't understand what the tactics were. Again, another heart-to-heart, and it got put right until the Orient match.
The Orient game,
So he seems to be making changes like, or if things aren't working out, then he'll change it. But it seems to be, just a minute, we've got a cat. I've got two, and it does that sometimes. They call him Rascal. You can see why. So it's settled down. It's settled down an awful lot as far as Barnsley fans are concerned. Some were a bit bothered, but it's pulled it round and it's pulled them round. I don't, I think everybody started to get behind him and seeing what he's trying to do, and getting understanding of what he wants. We had another manager between our two clubs. You'll not have heard of this guy because I hadn't. Brough Fletcher. Now then, Brough Fletcher. Never heard of him. He were a Barnsley manager for 7 years. No idea. I don't know where I was. Well, I know where I was. I went anywhere. 7 years. And he left us and he became your manager in January 1938. So just before the war. And he were your manager until 1950. So 12 years he were your manager. The vast majority of it, there were no football because we were at war. So when football started again, it was much later on. So he went a long time manager. Although it's 12 years, he went a long time manager, I think.
Yeah.
And then you got to shutter him. So Brough Fletcher. So if anybody remembers Brough Fletcher, put it in the comments below, or don't. If you don't,
that's crazy.
I'll be gobsmacked if anybody. And there might be a few that put comments on saying, "Oh, I remember him." They won't do.
No chance.
They just won't. So, right. So we've done all that. So we know, we know how it's gone this season. We know how I hope it's going to go. The changes that's been made, change of managers, some players in and all that. Promise being injured and all that game. Players and managers that have done the business for both teams. So I'm coming to the bit where I usually get little Alan Andy, George and Isaac Webster, the little Alan Andy of Redallover, to come and ask you some questions. But because you had the nerve to come on this show in September, they already asked you, why don't you support a good club? Why do you support Bristol Rovers when you could support a good club? I'm not going to mention Bristol City. Well, a good club.
Don't mention that.
Because they're not a good club. So they asked you that in September. They also asked you if you could relive one game, what would it be? And they also asked you, who do you think's the best player ever to play for Bristol Rovers? And you answered them fully. So what I'm not going to do is ask you those same 3 questions again, because I've already got the answers. So for all the people that are going to watch this, the discerning viewers that we've got, all 6 of them, I'm going to put on a recap. So I'm going to insert your answers to those questions in between this ramble. So I'm going to bung them in. And then we're going to come to some other questions. They've got two other questions that they want to ask you. So right now, at this moment, I'm going to shut my face and roll the titles to your best bits.
Why don't you support a good team? Yeah, like Liverpool or Manchester City. Or best of all, Barnsley.
Yeah, it just has to be Rovers, doesn't it?
That's a good club. They said good club.
Yeah, it's actually Rovers,
All right,
very
okay.
very very good club. Yeah, I just love the fact, just support your local team, innit? I think there's, especially nowadays, you got way too many people supporting, Premier League clubs that they don't even go, etc. So yeah, that started back in 2007. One of my friends from primary school said, "Do you want to go to Rovers versus Doncaster in the Millennium Stadium final?" So I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And ever since then, ever since I was 11, I've been going, pretty much all the time, home and away.
What is the one game that you would like to relive again?
There is quite a few, but I would probably
Don't get
say,
big-headed. Don't get big-headed, Charlie. Just the one.
yeah, I'd probably say the 7-0 where we beat Scunthorpe. I think that stands out. Elliot Anderson, when we had him on loan from Newcastle, scoring the seventh goal. But the other one, I would say the other one would be the other promotion where, Lee Brown scored in the 95th minute, and that also got us promoted to League One. So yeah, I'd say them two. They were crazy.
Who is the best player that you have ever seen play for your club?
It's close between the young kid I talked about, Elliot Anderson, who we had on loan. Joey brought him in on loan from Newcastle. Didn't know anything about it, and he tore it up. And now he's starting for. He went from Newcastle to Forest for 35 million quid, and now he's starting for Forest. So either him or Ricky Lambert. Ricky Lambert was
Yeah.
amazing for us. It's where his career really started. From us, went to Southampton, scored, I think, first season in the Premier League, even scored in the Prem, I think 13 or 14 goals, scored on his England debut. But yeah, he also got the winner against Bristol City in 2007 as well in the JPT. So he got to the final against Donny. Yeah, it was hit either Ricky Lambert or Elliot Anderson. Amazing.
Right. Having done those three questions to death, I'm going to come on to two other. They've got two other questions they want to ask you. There's no end to the question. I don't get a say in these questions. These little scamps, little Alan Andy, I've told everybody knows that watches this show. They think they're going to take over from me and Alan Smith. That's what they think. Well, they're only 11, so they've got a bit of waiting to do. Well, actually, maybe not that long. Bit of waiting to do since we're 70. So I'm going to put them on to ask their fourth question, as it turns out. So here they are now to ask you the question.
What is your greatest football moment?
Best moment. It's a good one. It's a tough one. To be honest with you, because it's Rovers against Barnsley, Daryl Clark, management, both teams. I'll have to say those back-to-back promotions. I've got to say that. Yeah, since being a Rovers fan, we've had quite a few promotions. But yeah, I'll have to say, getting, well, obviously not getting relegated, but though that promotion from the Conference to League Two to then League Two to League One, I've got to say that.
Tell me about them. Tell me about them.
Yeah, it was just crazy. The worst ever feeling. I remember actually crying, crying in the East Terrace at Rovers. After getting relegated, and we started really poorly as well. Really, really poorly that season. We lost to Altrincham, we lost to Braintree. It was awful. But then, once our team gelled, we just went on a brilliant run. We could have won the league, but we conceded late on at Dover, and then managed to beat Forest Green in the semis, and then luckily beat Grimsby on penalties, and then obviously the League 2 one again started quite poorly, but then under that side where we had, Lee Mansell, Matty Taylor, the one that went to Bristol City and said, "Oh, I didn't realize how much of a rivalry there was from Rovers to City."
Bristol Rovers and Bristol City. No.
Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, and then that was brilliant. Yeah, like I said earlier, we actually went 1-0 down through then a very young Matty Cash on loan from Forest at Dagenham. He put them 1-0 up at the Mem, and then we went on to score. Billy Bowden, he was amazing. He's at Burton Albion now, but he was absolutely outstanding for us under Daryl Clark. And then Lee Brown, former Portsmouth Wimbledon, he got the winner, and it was absolutely bedlam, as you can imagine. So those were. I'd have to say that would be my best football memory, especially watching Rovers.
That's lovely. Finally, because you'll be fed up of answering these as questions, I'm glad we split it over 2 shows. Makes it a bit more palatable for you, not for me, who's got to listen to it all again. They're going to ask you one final question. I'm not sure I can answer it, but the final question is coming up now.
Can you remember your first game? Or are you too old like Andy?
Yeah, first game was the 2007 season, Doncaster Rovers in the JPT final at the Millennium Stadium. Unfortunately, we lost, but that season we also got a promotion from League 2 to League 1, beat Shrewsbury in the playoff final at Wembley, and we were the first team to win at Wembley a playoff final at the new stadium. And also that season we got to the 5th round of the FA Cup as well, which is the furthest we've ever got. So that season was crazy. I was 11, but then 2007. So that season was that was my first season and my first game. Doncaster Rovers at the Millennium Stadium.
Well, you might have the record of being the first team to win a playoff final at the new Wembley, but you can't beat our record. We were the last team to lose a playoff final at the old Wembley. 4-2 against Ipswich, funnily enough.
Ipswich as well. Yeah, our last opponent.
I cannot remember my first game, but I was 4, so it was, so forgive me, 66 years ago. But I will tell you this, and I'll try and keep it as brief as I can. In November 1980, my wife went into hospital, Mexborough Montague Hospital, which is halfway between Barnsley and, funnily enough, Doncaster, to have what became our son, Jonathan, who comes on the show now and again, comes on Instant Reaction, and a couple of times has come on the main show. She went in on the Saturday morning. Obviously, it was 1980 when there were matrons knocking about and, carry on matron and all that, exactly like that. So in we went at about 8 o'clock in the morning, got her settled. I'm settling down to keep her company. Matron comes in, said, "You can't be here, off you go." Come back at 7 o'clock when it's visiting time, said she's having a baby. Off you go. Push me out the door and lock the door to the hospital behind me. Or a cottage hospital, so like a little, one small cottage. So what did I do? I'm in Mexborough. No what happens in Mexborough. I did the decent thing. I got on the bus into Barnsley and watched Barnsley play. So I sorted it out with my mum. I watched Barnsley play. I had to go past my mum's home at West Melton on the way back to the hospital. And I was going to call in, have a sandwich with my mum, and then get off back to the hospital for 7 o'clock. As the bus comes back, she's waiting at the bus stop, jumps on the bus, chucks a sandwich in my hand, jumps back off the bus and says, she's having the baby. So I stopped on the bus back to Mexborough, just continued on back to Mexborough. So I got there for about, I don't know, be about 6 o'clock, 5:45, 6 o'clock, something like that. So it's half a mile from the hospital, from the bus stop. So I ran all the way. I'm 26, so I'm not that young, but not that old either. Ran all the way, puffing and panting, absolutely shattered. Gets to the door, banging hell out the door, shouts, "I'm back. I'm here. My wife's having a baby." The same matron opens the door, looks at me, stern looking. You wouldn't have argued with her, Charlie, I'll tell you that. Stern looking, and says to me, "False alarm, go away." Shut the door. They've been locked it again. So For those Barnsley fans that know Mexborough, it's not open at 6 o'clock. It's already shut. So there weren't a lot to do. So I'm hanging about in the freezing cold, wandering about. Actually went for a drink, but I've not told anybody that. Went for a drink only to keep warm, just to keep warm, obviously. Went back for 7 o'clock, and she let me in. And fortunately, a few hours later, our lovely son Jonathan was born. So that's my memory. It weren't the first time I went, but that's the best I can do. That's the best memory I can think of. There you are, Charlie. And I know the question you're dying to ask. Yes, we beat Chester 2-0. I knew you wanted to know. I knew you were desperate to know. So double bubble. We won. I watched them, we won, and our son were born. Bish bash bosh, all done. So having gone through all that, and I'm sure my son will be thrilled when he watches this. Predictions. We ain't come to predictions for the game, me and you, the predictions. Now, normally, when it gets to predictions, because, we, like you do, we do our main preview show. I'm not on that. So what I normally do is I say it on the preview show, and when I come to do an away-end show like such as you, I just lie, just to make you feel better about yourselves. So I say, oh, you'll beat us 2-1, or it'll be 1-0 or 2-2, something like that, just so that you feel a bit more positive going to the game. So I don't want to dash your hopes. And then obviously I tell the truth when I go on our show. But I'm not going on our show this time because I'm going away. So I'm not going on our show just tomorrow night. So I can be truthful. I'm going to be truthful.
Yeah, be as truthful as you can.
I know it's not second nature, though. Ask my wife. It's not second nature to tell the truth. Barnsley 2-1.
Barnsley 2-1. Wow, yeah, I'm not surprised because you that is your favourite one, isn't it? That is your favourite 2-1. 2-1. Yeah. It's
tried and tested, Charlie.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like I said to you, earlier on in the show, we've not beat you in a very long time. Always struggle against you. But you know what? I'm feeling confident. I got my prediction for Cambridge right. That was the first one in a while. I said would win 1-0. And I usually also go for the same scoreline if we're going to win. So I'm not 100% confident, but I just got a little bit of a good feeling that we'll get our first home win under Cowdon. So I'll say 2-1 Rovers, and I'll say Luke Thomas will score a goal. Whether it's the winner or the equaliser or the opener, I don't know. But yeah, I'll say 2-1 Rovers.
You believe all you want, Charlie. If you want to believe that, it'd be good for you. You go for that. I'm pleased for you. Right, that's it. I think we've. Well, I don't know about you. You want, but I've certainly bored people for long enough. I think you want. You've kept us entertained, and I'm sure you'll go down as one of the all-time greats of Redallover. I won't, but you will. So all that's left for me to say is to the viewers, thank you very much, all of you, when you finally watch this. All 6 or 7 of you, and that includes some of my family. And to you, Charlie, seriously, thank you for the second time this season. It's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure to talk with you, mate.
Really, cheers for having me on.
Really,
I really enjoyed it.
So thank you ever so much, and all the very, very best of luck from Sunday onwards.
Same to you.
Finally, as Kenneth Wolstenholme said in 1966, there are some people on the pitch, they think it's red all over. It is now.